Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me once again for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning. That's it. Clean. That's all. Misty morning. So good. So good. Welcome to Monday morning. If you guys want any of these teas, go over to darkmoonteas.com. Go check them out. Or you could go over to my website, JCristina.com. You asked me for them, you got them. Also, if you're a subscriber to the channel, use promo code YT20. At checkout over at JCristina.com, anything that's in your shopping cart, you will get all of it for 20% off. Once again, YT20. Anyways, guys, today is going to be a Micro Four Thirds day. I'm going to talk a little bit about Panasonic. Now, there was some information that came out over at 43 Rumors, which is their rumors mill, let's say, regarding Micro Four Thirds. And they were talking about where the GH line was going. And I find it really fascinating because it kind of gives credence to what I've said for quite some time. Now, this is information that came to them from like an internal source or a really close source to Panasonic. So most likely this information is correct. But before I get into it, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded my ebook, go and check it out over at jcristina.com/ebook. Once again, jcristina.com/ebook. It's free. 10 tips at making tack-sharp images. Something for amateurs, pro-ams, and of course, professionals. You're going to learn something from it. Once again, it's free. Go check it out. jcristina.com/ebook. So let me just get into a couple of the comments that this source told 43 Rumors over there about what Panasonic is doing, how they're moving forward with the GH line. Bear in mind, grammatically, some of the stuff is off because most likely it was not an English-speaking source, but either which way, we're going to get the gist of it, I'm sure. They start out by saying they will change their strategy. That's Panasonic. Micro Four Thirds will focus on the vlogging segment. Very interesting. Very interesting. They don't see a huge market for a GH6 anymore, as most people are moving to full frame. Now, if you've been with this channel for any given period of time, you know I've said this countless times, over and over and over, and it's just slowly coming to pass. All right, the Micro Four Thirds are just slowly going away, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Is there use cases for them? Absolutely. But the ROI and the value is just not there in comparison to other cameras. Well, they continue by saying, so the up-and-coming GH6 may be more a pro-grade G100. Interesting comment, right? A pro-grade G100. It's more of an upgrade to the GH5 in a new body with an enhanced mobile integration. So that makes sense. If you want to do something that's really good for vloggers, what you would do is you would create a camera that would do an awesome job for capturing run and gun, great stabilization, okay, and a ton of internal features for being able to get the data up into the cloud, right? Social. So if you are running and gunning, you're making a vlog, you might maybe do some basic edit from behind the camera instead of behind your computer, and then literally just send it. All right. So that's a possibility. The problem that I see here is autofocus. All right. Vloggers need amazing autofocus. They cannot have this contrast detect, hope that we find pulsating of a crap. Okay. That's just my personal opinion. They continue by saying, or to make it short, a GH6 may not come with the desired specs, and the story of the Pro Video Micro Four Thirds will end with the GH5. That's kind of gloom and doom, right, guys? That's basically saying that the GH6 is not going to be a pro-grade camera, period, and the GH5S is going to be it. They also said that the G9 is now selling well in India. There are discussions about a Mark II, which then also the successor of the GH5 with an additional video package to buy, similar to what Nikon is doing. Interesting, interesting. But do not expect a big bang here. Now, it just makes sense that they are slowly kind of dumbing this down a little bit more and seeing it more as a vlogging camera or a camera that you're going to be using as a replacement to a webcam or something like that. So it doesn't forebode well, according to what this source is saying. They finalize with, the future of Micro Four Thirds is not yet decided. They are very careful because of the Olympus imaging carve-out happening soon. And again, to mention, Sigma wants them to focus on the L mount. Now, we've talked about this before. Olympus, you know, now that they are selling, or by the end of the year will have sold their imaging department over to JIP, and what is going to happen with their cameras, we don't know. What he or she is saying here is that Panasonic is still on the fence with Micro Four Thirds because they don't know what's going to happen with Olympus. They saw the writing on the wall years ago, and they created this L alliance going on, right? They created the S line, the S1, and it's really a fantastic camera, but is a full frame camera, right? Micro Four Thirds is, as I've said over just years now, slowly going away. Now that we have really only one player left, let's just call it one player, and this player is looking at it as, you know, maybe we want to just do vlogging with this camera, all right? We just don't think that there's enough, just like they said, of a amount of people that are going to want this camera. And we know, guys, that Micro Four Thirds, their sensor is probably about 5, maybe 6 years old now. They haven't come out with anything new, as far as my understanding. So they're going to have to seriously think about it and say, do we want to put the R&D into a new sensor? For me, I think what they should probably do is, since they have full frame already with the S line, maybe move that GH4, GH5, GH5S stuff into a APS-C sensor, all right? And instead of using an APS-C sensor that is contrast detect, use an APS-C sensor that also will do phase detection. So they can actually have autofocus that's worth a hell of something, because right now it's a hell of garbage. And if any of you have shot with the GH anything, you know that the thing will pulsate itself to death. In and out, in and out, in and out. It's a hot ass mess. So it's very difficult to produce anything of quality when the camera is in autofocus. I have, you know, colleagues of mine that shoot advertisements, TV ad spots, 15-second, 30-second, 45-second ad spots for TV, and they've used GH5Ss, but they have to leave them in manual focus, and they have to pull their own focus. They just can't use it. It's just not possible. You can't use video that is pulsating in and out. Autofocus is just a hot ass mess. So, you know, I could see them doing that. Now, will they? I don't know. The thing is we know that, or I've said in the past, that Micro Four Thirds is going away. And APS-C will be that baseline. Then we'll go straight into full frame. That will be that middle ground, because everyone will have a full frame. And then a lot of the professionals like myself will end up with medium format. I shoot medium format for my fashion, and I also shoot medium format for product photography. Now, why? Why? Right? People are like, oh, you know, you could use a smaller sensor. I've had many guys over there at Panasonic, the big wigs, tell me, Joe, you're crazy. You're crazy. You don't need full frame. That's overkill. All right? We have professionals that use our Micro Four Thirds all the time. Yeah, you probably do. All right? You probably do. But for my work, I need bigger pixels, better pixels, and more of them. Right? That's just it. Why is that? Well, if I'm shooting fashion and I'm doing, let's say, a bust-up shot, the client needs to be able to take that bust-up shot and zoom in to, let's say, an eyeball and sell, let's say, makeup, zoom out and sell a purse, or whatever the case might be. Okay, so we're using a single shot in multiple fashions. All right, so it is very important to have extremely tack sharp images that are not only tack sharp, but there's a ton of pixels, so that later on in post-production, there's a lot of massaging that can be done if need be. Okay, you can't do it on a small sensor. As soon as you start blowing it up and zooming in and getting in there tight, it just starts falling apart. It starts falling apart. That's just the end of the story. That's just it. I remember doing a to B comparison between, now this was like about 10 years ago, a Hasselblad that we were renting in for a fashion shoot down in Miami. And I was shooting, I think it was a 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III, whatever it was, okay? And just wanted to compare, all right? So we had a lot of people on set. We had the MUA, we had multiple models, we had the fashion designer that was doing all the dressing and all the changes and whatnot, and an entire crew. And I had one of the crew members ended up using the 5D Mark II or Mark III, whichever one it was, to take photos of the exact same photos that I were taken with the Hasselblad. And when we put them side by side, there was no comparison. If you would zoom in 10 times onto the image, all right, and they both look great, as soon as you go 20 times, let's say, the 5D would just fall apart. There was just no more data there, okay? It would just turn a mess. Whereas with the Hasselblad, you can keep going in deeper and deeper and deeper. You're like, oh my God, look at all this data. So that's just a perfect example on why sometimes you just need more. More is not sometimes just more. More is actually better, and clients require it. Okay, so that is my rationale why I always use medium format. So as far as this goes with the Micro Four Thirds, I do think that they're dying. I think that Panasonic will discontinue their Micro Four Thirds line, all right, and not too long down the road. I think what will probably end up happening is by the end of the year, JIP will take over Olympus. And when they take over Olympus, Panasonic will be watching very carefully what they do with their Micro Four Thirds line. Do they get rid of it? Do they keep it? Do they just make it into a vlogging type of camera, a cheaper camera? Get rid of their $3,000 Micro Four Thirds camera that was just ridiculous? Ridiculous. That was the nail in the coffin, and I predicted it. You could take a look at the videos back there. As soon as that came out, it was like, that's it. Olympus is done. 5-6 months later, they're done. You know, they're selling the company or selling the division. So I think Panasonic is really going to have to look at what JIP does with the Olympus brand and then decide what they're going to do. But just by hearing this inside information on what they're, let's say, envisioning for the GH line, it seems like it's going to be less of a professional GH line of cameras. It'll be more of like a vlogger camera, or like they said, more of a professional G100, and not a GH line. So, you know, the people out there that are very enthusiastic about Micro Four Thirds and they don't want to see Micro Four Thirds go away, you know, I look at it this way. If they get rid of Micro Four Thirds, it will give Panasonic, you know, more of a R&D budget, let's say, to put into their S line. And maybe create an S version that is cheap, in quotes, air quotes, cheap, similar to like a GH line, so that they would be able to now bridge people over to their full frame. Just like what Canon is doing, all right? Get people in the door and then bridge them over using an adapter to bring them into that L mount, okay? Now, how do they do it? I don't know, but they're really going to have to think about it. And by listening to this internals of what's going on there, Panasonic has some thinking to do. And I would hate to see the GH line turn into, as Panasonic calls it here, a vlogging camera or for the vlogging segment. And especially if they just continue with contrast detect, because that will not work. It just won't work. People are not vlogging with a camera that can't pull focus. All right. So anyways, guys, those are my thoughts. I want to hear what you think about it. What do you think about the Micro Four Thirds thing? What do you think about Panasonic actually now possibly looking at their GH line as a vlogger's camera only? What do you think about them kind of waiting to see what's going on with Olympus, JIP, let's call them, at the end of the year? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think, not only do you think they will do, what do you think they should do? What do you think Panasonic should do? Should they try to rescue Micro Four Thirds? Should they just let it go the way of the dodo bird? Or what do you think they should do? For me, like I said, I think they should slap a new sensor in there that is an APS-C sensor that has both contrast detect as well as phase detect, that the autofocus actually damn works, and just move forward with it as a bridge camera to bring people into the S-line. That's my opinion. Who am I? Just some idiot behind a camera on YouTube, right? So anyways, guys, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment area. Throw those comments down there. I want to talk to you back and forth. After that, don't forget to head over to community.JCristina.com. Once again, community.JCristina.com. It is our Discord server, a creative Discord server that I created for us to be able to hang out and discuss this type of things. All of the videos, the 400 videos I've made in the last year, we can talk about them. There's a ton of people on there, a lot of smart, brilliant people, a lot smarter than I am. So head over there. Once again, community.JCristina.com. Community.JCristina.com, our creative community. Also, don't forget, pick up that ebook, jcristina.com/ebook. Also, if you got anything out of this video, even a little bit, throw it a big thumbs up. That would be really, really helpful. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you are, click this little bell icon right there. So whenever I come out with new videos or if I go live, you will be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me. That would be awesome. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.